Good morning, coming to you live from Nasdaq's global headquarters in Lower Manhattan. Welcome to the October 24th edition of Advisory Live, powered by Nasdaq IR Insight. I'm your host, Will Briganti from Nasdaq, and joining me as my guest today is Adam Lazarus from Nasdaq Corporate Solutions. Adam, thanks so much for being here.
Glad to be here again.
It's great to have you back. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, today Adam is here to discuss the latest in terms of an earnings outlook as well as the potential for a new Federal Reserve chair. But let's get started with earnings first, Adam. So what's the latest update you have for us on earnings?
Sure. Well, it's fairly early in earnings as roughly 1 in 5 S&P 500 companies have now reported for the third quarter. So far, we're seeing approximately 73% are beating on the top and bottom line compared to what analysts were expecting. And that's also higher than what we've been seeing for the previous 4 quarters, according to Thomson Reuters.
So what seems different compared to previous quarters?
Okay. So, well, according to FactSet, we are seeing a significant drop in the blended earnings growth rate for the third quarter. So far it's come in at 1.7%, which is a significant slowdown from the second quarter, which was over 10%, and the first quarter, which was at 14%.
And in terms of what's kind of coming up next, what's on the earnings horizon?
So we have a lot of tech-heavy hitters this week. So we have Amazon, we have Alphabet, we have Microsoft and Facebook, on top of 172 of the S&P 500 companies scheduled to report.
Sure, and also isn't Twitter reporting as well this week, right?
Yes, Twitter is this week.
That's right. So obviously, for all of our viewers, you're coming to us live on Twitter's Periscope. So we appreciate you tuning in right here live on Twitter. Now let's get back to the question.
Fair enough.
Changing subjects, let's talk about the Federal Reserve. There's been a lot of talk in recent weeks about President Trump potentially announcing a new chair of the Federal Reserve.
Yes.
What can you tell us?
Okay, so currently Janet Yellen's term is scheduled to end in February of 2018. So the president can either just reappoint Janet or he could decide to pick somebody else to lead the Federal Reserve. Right now it's leaning towards he's looking to pick somebody else.
Right, that's the estimate you're seeing. And so how far along are we in the process of this?
Okay. So last Thursday he actually just finished all the interviews of the 5 main candidates. And just yesterday when he talked to reporters, he said that he was very, very close to making his final decision.
Okay. And you mentioned that he interviewed some of the candidates. So who exactly is in the running that we know about?
Okay. So he ended up interviewing 5 candidates. One of them, of course, is the current Fed chair, Janet Yellen.
Right.
And besides the 5, he still could pick anybody he wants, but he could also potentially pick his economic advisor, which is Gary Cohn.
Right.
And the odds makers right now are at least pointing to the lead candidate being the current Fed governor, Jerome Powell.
And Mr. Powell, what will that mean for the markets if Powell is picked?
Okay. So most economists consider Powell to be dovish when it comes to monetary policy, which would be basically a continuation of Janet Yellen's current monetary policy, which is to gradually increase interest rates, and also for U.S. monetary policy normalization of the balance sheet, he would likely to gradually unwind that also. So for the markets, this is more the status quo, which will likely see markets go higher. And the markets traditionally like the chairman to be more dovish than hawkish.
Sure, of course. Well, Adams, thank you so much for that insight. We appreciate your outlook in terms of earnings and some of the predictions that you shared with regard to a potential new chair of the Federal Reserve. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Well, we'll look forward to having you back once a decision by the president is made.
Sure. He has mentioned it may be as early as the beginning of November, so just stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. That's a couple weeks away. All right. Thank you so much, Adam. And thank you to you, our viewers, for tuning in to the October 24th edition of Advisory Live. Be sure to check out some of our past episodes if you scroll through the history here on Twitter at Nasdaq and at MyCorp Solutions. And you can always check our corporate blog for all of the expert insight from Adam and the rest of the Nasdaq Advisory Services team, and that's over on business.nasdaq.com. Thanks so much, and tune into our episode on Thursday. We look forward to seeing you then. Take care.